Whacking truckers?
Well, he's got military folks out there arresting him.
He's got Canadian death squads.
Hey, you shouldn't be here, eh? Sorry about that. We got to arrest you. Sorry.
Oh. The mic didn't pick that up. I'm sure that was horrifying. Hang on, everybody. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. We're experimenting some technological differences. That's a line from Idiocracy. I don't know if you've ever seen Idiocracy before.
I have not seen Idiocracy.
You've not seen Idiocracy?
I haven't,
That's such
no.
a good movie, dude.
I need to watch it. It came out a long time ago, didn't it? It came out like the mid-2000s?
Yeah, I think it was one of those like maybe it was a Comedy Central original movie.
Was it?
I think so. It kind of has that production quality to it,
yeah.
you know. But therein lies a lot of the charm.
Yeah.
Right, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't think of what else to compare it to. It's kind of like a Dude, Where's My Car kind of movie. Like as far as production quality goes, I think that's a fair comparison. But it's got Dak Shepard, Owen Wilson's brother. I can't remember his name.
Luke Wilson?
Luke Wilson. It's got Luke Wilson in it. And I don't remember the girl character's name, but she's been in a lot of stuff. She was... You've seen Grown Ups.
Did you just assume her gender?
I sure did, and I'll do it again.
I'll fucking do it again.
What was that video you sent me about Demi Lovato?
Oh, yeah.
With the ghosts.
Yeah, it was some type of like ghost hunter show or whatever. And for those of you that haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to go to watch it. You can find it on YouTube. Simply type in Demi Lovato Ghost. And so essentially the premise of the video is that they are, I'm guessing, in some haunted location.
Mm-hmm.
And she's speaking with a ghost. Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
She started singing.
Yeah. Okay, but you got to preface it before she starts singing. So she's in this thing, and like there's like this little beeping mechanism that I guess they created or some shit. And so she's talking to this entity. I think she said it was a star person.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that the star person had experienced some trauma in their past life, and that the men needed to leave the room.
Oh my God.
In order for her to continue speaking with the entity.
With the star person.
Yeah, with the star person. And then she proceeds to sing some song to it.
Skyscraper, or was it Satellite or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The whole thing's a fucking circus. I mean, it really is.
Because I sent it to you and I said, Super Cringe Thursday, question mark.
Well, you know, it's funny because all those ghost hunter shows are like they're all bullshit.
You know which one my favorite is?
Which one?
My favorite one is the one where the guy like is like, fuck you, piece of shit, ghost.
Yeah. Why don't you come suck my dick, ghost? You ain't gonna do shit, ghost.
Yeah, you ain't gonna do shit, bro.
But like, so they're all like hamming it up and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I know they were like, if we can get Demi Lovato to come on this show, it will be great because she'll actually believe what we're telling her. And like the first thought that comes into her mind, like they could have never come up with a traumatized star person.
No.
Only an insane person can do that.
Only somebody that's out of their mind can come up with that.
Oh.
Because I was talking with Allison about it, and I said, hey, watch this. And I gave her the phone, and she got about halfway through it, and she gave it back, and she's like, I can't watch that.
Some people just have no palate for that kind of stuff.
No palate for cringe.
Yeah. Oh, man, I definitely do. I'm like a cringe connoisseur.
Oh, I love cringe.
Like I swish it around in the glass and like, smell it. This has notes of anime.
She might as well have been like holding a body pillow and wearing a fedora.
Yeah. What I said, this person was traumatized in they were misgendered in a past life.
It's like, I think they had more important things going on if this is actually for real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, staying the fuck alive.
Yeah.
Like,
trying to live past 25.
yeah.
Trying
to not be brought to death by consumption.
Yeah. Or get the headsman's axe.
Yeah.
Or whatever fucked up shit. What was that one? The something's daughter, that metal hoop they put people in and they would squeeze you, they juiced you like a lemon.
Oh yeah.
What was that thing called? The burglar's daughter or something daughter?
I don't remember.
I
know
know
which one you're talking about though.
It was fucked up. They're all fucked up.
Have you ever seen the one? It's like, I don't know. I'm assuming that they actually did it, but they had like that old like medieval drawing of like this dude hanging upside down and they're sawing him in half.
Sawing him in half. Yeah,
through his butt cheeks.
Like, you really have to go gooch first. God, what a way to go. Some poor bastard, that was his fate.
Yeah.
That's where he was born as a little baby. He grew up and then that happened.
Yeah. Imagine like being the father or the mother of that parent. You're like, I really hope that this kid has a good life.
Oh, that's fucked up. Speaking of Super Cringe Thursday, do you want to jump right into our last one?
What was our last one?
It was that guy trying to sing God Bless America at the baseball game.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one.
That was bad.
That one, I kind of felt bad for that guy.
I did feel bad. Yeah, I mean, I did feel bad. It was still cringe.
It was still super cringe, but I don't know, just something. I think halfway through, he was like, uh-oh, I've made a mistake.
You think he was coming up on that? I know, because it was a voice crack. No, it wasn't. He was trying to hit a high note.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a voice crack.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he's...
I don't know, man. Like, when people, like, fuck up singing like that, like, I go, oof.
Oof, that's a hard one to stomach. Yeah, I wonder if, like, coming up to that note, if he was like, oh, here it comes, like, he's might have faltered on it a few times before. He's like,
it's like been once or twice where he's actually hit it, and he's like, please, dear God.
Yeah. It was such a voice crack, too. I mean, because the video we posted, like, it slows it down and runs through it a second time, and he, like, jumps 3 octaves. Like, he goes, like, up an octave, down 2 octaves, and then back up to where he was supposed to be. It's insane. And then before the camera cuts away, it shows one of the baseball players, and he's, like, trying not to laugh. It's very unfortunate happening.
Very unfortunate. I don't know, man. Like, that kind of, like, people who, like, try to sing and they can't sing, and it's in front of, like, a large crowd of people.
Yeah.
Like, I just go, ooh.
Yeah. Like, how do you not know? Right?
Like, if I was his friends or his family, I'd be like, look, dude.
That dude could sing, though, because, like, prior to that, I mean, he had a good range and he was singing well.
I mean, he was okay.
But I don't think he shouldn't win after that note. I don't think.
No,
I think he should have, maybe just stayed in the range he was in.
No.
I don't know.
It's like, okay, if you're a baritone, maybe you shouldn't be trying to go up 3 octaves.
Trying to sing falsetto.
Like, he's like, oh, fuck, what's his name? The guy from Queen.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, like he's Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Wearing some fucking leather pants.
The thing about it was, that cringe video is different than our other two, because the other two was the guy, the cosplay dancer, and then the dude that was dancing and, like, fucked his ankle up in front of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy had, like, actual skill and talent. He just made a mistake. Those two were just delusional, I believe.
Yeah, that's the people that are, like, delusional. I have zero sympathy for them because they've probably been told in the past, like, you need to knock this off. And they have made a decision not to knock it off.
Knock it off and double down.
I have no sympathy for people who double down on stuff like that.
Man. Well, I mean, we all watched, American Idol when it first came out, and then, like, the several seasons after, and even on America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent and X Factor and all those, whatever. Anytime they just let the Gen Pop come in and start singing, there's always, like, I mean, they do a lot of vetting before you even see these people on camera. And you have to go and sing in front of a panel and sing in front of another panel, and then they narrow it down to, like, for the show.
They know what they're doing.
So they let a couple of the goofy ones come through because it makes for good TV. Not because anybody was like, nobody up until Simon Cowell thought that person could actually sing. Yeah, it was unfortunate for Mr. Baseball guy
for
there.
all involved.
For all involved. Oh man. Well, let's bring in the podcast. Hello and welcome to the Thicc Bois podcast. This is episode 20.
I have no clue.
It is. I checked last night. I came down here and I made sure everything was still operational because we haven't been in here since November.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've been busy trying to take care of some professional things.
Yeah. You've got that going on, and then I've just had so much shit going on with work. I've been so busy with work, and
However, I will no longer be traveling.
Yeah, so Wesley has some good news.
Yep. So my professional life has changed. That's about as far as I'm willing to take it.
That's fair.
And I will no longer be required to travel like I used to. Yeah, so
very nice.
We'll be able to get on hopefully a solid schedule here pretty soon.
Yeah. We'll nail down an actual recording schedule.
Yeah.
And we're not just blowing smoke up your ass. This is a real possibility.
Well, it's hard. It was hard, on my part, especially too. Like, we had done some remote ones in the past, but it's just not the same.
No,
it's
not.
It's not the same.
I don't think those episodes were bad.
I don't think they were bad either.
Like a different feel to them.
Yeah.
Than like our in-person ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But yes, so now that I will be back in the vicinity of my home more.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to hopefully get a schedule here going pretty soon.
I'm looking to have a little bit of a career change here soon myself.
Ooh, really? You have to tell me about it when we're all fair.
Well, I mean, it's I'll for the most part I'll be working with the same software that I work with, but for a different thing altogether.
No.
So it won't require me to drive around in a work truck for 6 hours out of the day.
Yeah. So you'll be in the office more?
Yeah.
Well,
I won't rely on other people to do my job, which
good.
is one of the worst things ever. But yeah, things are happening all around us and to us, and
parts are moving.
So we'll nail down an actual recording schedule here and pump out more consistent content. There was something I wanted to say. Oh, we were talking about just the shit that was going on since the last time we recorded.
There's a lot of shit that's been going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just in our personal lives.
Yeah.
I think it was right after Christmas. Christmas night, the night of Christmas, I went to bed and I was feeling kind of congested. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, I'm sick. So I was like, need to make sure it's not COVID, and it wasn't. But I think I just had a cold, and I kicked it in about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Well, then after that, I got the worst headache I've ever had in my entire life. It felt like somebody took an iron wet nail and just stuck it between my eyes and hammered it in.
You feel like the Saw Gooch guy.
It was but from the head down.
From the head down.
It was horrible. And I couldn't eat and I couldn't drink. Ever since I've been on this diet and exercising and everything, I have a calorie tracker.
No.
And over 5 days, I ate 1,200 calories. I just couldn't keep anything down.
No.
And there was one day where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go chemical warfare on this headache. And I took over the course of one day, I took 6 ibuprofen and 9 Tylenol and 4 Excedrin. I mean, it was
yeah. Your liver's oh my god.
Yeah, it was far too much. And then that's what ended up fucking up my stomach, because when I finally I had to go to the ER because I was like, they gotta do something for me because I can't sleep. I can't even exist. My head hurts so bad.
Existence is pain.
Yeah, I'm translucent. I'm in so much pain. And it was kind of funny because I was like, I don't want to go there and ask them for pain medicine and be like, my head hurts. Think I'm some kind of fucking druggie. So I went at 2 a.m., but I made sure to put on a nice pair of pants and a shirt, and I trimmed my beard up real nice and everything.
Wearing a button-down shirt.
Yeah. I didn't want to show up in
a sport jacket.
Yeah. I didn't want to show up in a pair of gym shorts and a ragged old t-shirt.
She's walking there what?
Yeah, can I get some Percocet, please?
Yeah. I feel like that would be, if I was somebody working at the hospital, I'd be more alarmed by that than somebody coming in in a pair of gym shorts they just got up out of bed.
Yeah.
You're what's this person doing? He's some type of mule. You like grab them and like stick them up your ass as you walk out. Just take the whole bottle.
Like put them into a little condom.
Yeah.
Tie it off. But yeah, I got there and they're asking me questions and this, that, the other, blah blah. And so I told them about like all the over the counter medicine that I took, and they were like, okay, well, what you've done.
First of all,
they're like, what you did was you destroyed all the bacteria in your stomach that helps digest food.
Yeah.
Because it's not just your stomach acid. There's bacteria in your stomach that helps break down the
and all
food.
that kind of stuff
like that. It's like an ecosphere inside your stomach. Well, I had none of that because I carpet bombed the entire thing with over the counter medicines, and so they're like, we have to reintroduce that stuff to your stomach.
No.
And I was like, okay. I'm thinking,
like, went outside and grabbed a dog turd.
Chew on that for a minute. I was thinking maybe a pill.
Yeah.
So she comes back and she's got like this little medicine cup full of like black liquid,
Ooh.
just like tar. And she's like, drink this. She's like, this will replenish the bacteria in your stomach. And I take it from her. She goes, you can't have anything after this. You can't drink it. You can't chase this with anything. Yeah. And it tastes horrible. And I was like, well, it didn't look like it tasted good.
Yeah.
And it was like drinking sidewalk chalk.
Ugh.
It was so bad, and like I just felt like it coated like my esophagus all the way down to my stomach. And then they sent me home with like prescriptions for like stomach medicine. So now I'm like 160.
You're like, we don't give a fuck about that headache. We gotta fix your stomach first.
I'm like $160 out of pocket. I've got this horrible taste in my mouth. My head still hurts, and now I'm going home. It's like 4:00 in the morning. So I had some Percocet left over from my kidney stone fiasco.
Yeah.
I got home and I was like, fuck it. I'm taking one of these things. I've got to get some sleep. But the next day, Mary had got me some Excedrin, like migraine medicine or whatever. And I think it did help, replenishing the bacteria because I was able to like eat a biscuit and keep it down.
Yeah.
And I think that Excedrin helped because it almost went away like an hour after that.
Yeah.
But that was not
How
fun
odd.
dealing with that. Yeah, it's you can't just have to do biological warfare on your body and expect to be okay. So like poisoned myself with all these over the counter medicines.
I had COVID while we were.
You did have COVID.
Yep, I did have COVID. I had COVID.
How was it for you?
It was like a mild cold.
Yeah,
that's about all it was. The funny thing is that I remember because it was like a Monday. It was a Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there and I was holding Autumn because she said that she wasn't feeling good. And Allison had got home from clinicals or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'm going to run up to Chick-fil-A and I'm going to get some soup for Autumn so she can eat something because she's not feeling well.
Chick-fil-A soup is so good.
Yeah.
It's
and
so
then,
good.
So I ran up there and I had kind of been congested that day.
Yeah.
I didn't really think much of it. And I had like a twinge of a headache. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just go to CVS real quick. I'll pick up one of these rapid tests.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just make sure.
Better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry.
Right, yeah.
And so I went in, grabbed the test prior to going to Chick-fil-A. So
nice.
So I go and I take the test and I stick it in the seat beside me. And then I go through the drive-thru and get my stuff and everything. Yeah. And like as soon as like I pull away from the drive-thru, it'd been like 5 minutes. Chick-fil-A is pretty quick. If it had been McDonald's, it'd been half an hour.
Yeah.
But so I pulled through the drive-thru and I look down and there's a thick red like line.
Like, boy, you got it.
Yeah, like you have COVID. And I was like, fuck. And so I was like, well, that's pretty apparent. So I was like, just to make sure, I'll take the other one. And so I took the other one, and I was watching it because I was sitting in the racetrack parking lot next to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there looking at it, and like as soon as like the solution went up the thing, the line popped up. And I was like, yeah, I got it.
Great.
And so I went home, or I take that back. I went back to CVS, stuck the mask on, went inside, got more tests, came back out of the car, drove home, and I called Alice. And I was like, come outside, get these tests, get this food. I was like, and you test you in Autumn.
Yeah.
I was like, because I know Autumn's not feeling well. And so they both tested, both of them negative.
Yeah.
And so they tested like a couple times over the next 3 or 4 days. Was never positive.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole afternoon with Autumn.
That's so strange.
And kissed Allison when she got home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's so strange.
And then like the whole time, like I was downstairs the whole time quarantining for, I think they said I quarantined for like 7 days. And like, so I was like taking a test, like after like the 4th day, I was like taking a test to be like, is it still there? And like on the 7th day, I tested negative. And I was like, okay, well, I'm good now. Yeah. I took like 3 or 4 tests. And I was like, okay, obviously I don't have it. So after that, it was fine. But the whole time I was down there, I had like a little bit of a headache. That's about it.
Yeah.
And like a little bit of a cough.
Well, I wonder if you had the new variant, the Omicron variant.
There's no telling.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, who the fuck knows?
But like, so me and Mary got like, you know, the iPhone 3G version of COVID, like the first one that came out.
You got the OG.
Yeah, we got the OG. And for me, it wasn't bad. It was like you said, like kind of like having a cold. I did have one day where I couldn't get warm.
Yeah.
Like no matter what I did, I was just freezing cold. And I'm a hot natured person.
Yeah.
I usually can't get cold. But that was just one day, and then like a day after that, I was fine. And then Mary had it, and she lost her taste and smell.
Oh, I lost both of those too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for about a month.
See, I didn't. It
really?
It never affected my taste or smell. Me and Mary had almost like opposite symptoms. It was very strange when we had it. But hey, it's very interesting how it affects everyone differently. Like some people, it just hits them super hard, just puts them down, and other people are just like whatever, it just like kind of rolls off their back.
Yeah, it's a very odd virus. It's very strange. A lot of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, it's like I said, for me to be around Autumn like I was that afternoon, and she wasn't feeling well, and I was holding her. So, and then I kissed Allison when she got home, and I'd been around her. So I don't know.
Well, Mary got it because she was around somebody whose husband was around somebody who had it.
Yeah.
And, transitively, it made it all the way over to my house.
Yeah.
And, Mary gave it to me, and, like, of course, we sleep in the same bed and everything. I kissed her and stuff. But, her symptoms started before mine did. So it was like, I don't even think I got it from her until she had already started quarantining in the guest room. And I think maybe the dog's going back and forth, like to me, and then into her room.
The dog's got it.
The dogs might have carried it, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, not a virologist.
Yeah, but I don't think that this is going to go away. I think this is the new world that we live in.
I think it's going to be like the flu.
Yeah, I think people are going to eventually ease up on like the restrictions, and they're going to.
I think you're already seeing it.
They're going to be like, look, we just got to get back to life.
Yeah,
and it's
well, obviously, right? So, like, Omicron is not as bad as a strain as I think, like, Delta or maybe the original was.
That's what I've heard. We've had the original one, and then there was Delta, and then there was there Lambda? I heard Lambda thrown around, but I don't know if that was ever a
I don't
thing.
know if that one ever came over. I think that Omicron is supposed to be the one. I don't think it's supposed to be as lethal as the other one.
Yeah.
Obviously, any virus or anything that you get, if you have multiple issues or comorbidities, of course it's going to be worse for you than it is for other people. You know what I mean? But I think it's going to get to a point where we're going to have to treat it like we treat the flu.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like it spiked during both summers, so maybe it'll be like a seasonal summer type deal.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I'm not a virologist. I'm not a doctor.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, though. I mean, people are out and about, getting around each other, and gathering in groups and stuff. But even when the whole world was quarantining, it was still spreading like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, for it to be a respiratory infection or a respiratory virus, of course, it's going to be particulates that are in the air or whatever, and that's going to be
There's only so much you can do outside of wearing a hazmat suit.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. People are just going to have to get used to the fact that it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not leaving. It's not going anywhere.
At least it's not as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Because if it would have gotten worse, we would have been in some trouble, I think.
And well, I mean, it's sort of like the flu. Like there's certain strains of the flu that pop up yearly that are worse than other years. I remember the year that Autumn was born in 2018, the flu was a big deal. It was a big issue. It was killing a lot of people.
Really?
And the interesting thing about the flu is that it's actually harder on young people than it is on older people.
Really?
And the reason why that is because of the way that it interacts with your body is that it's not necessarily the flu that kills you, it's the pneumonia afterwards because your T cells are attacking everything.
Yeah.
It's not just attacking the virus, it's attacking everything around it.
Yeah.
So it says you're essentially killing yourself.
Wow. You're eating yourself alive from the inside out. I know Mary's friend that gave COVID to her, she ended up having COVID and pneumonia at the same time. And she could barely even breathe. She had to go to the hospital and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, most of the time with respiratory things like that, it's the pneumonia usually most of the time that kills people.
Yeah, pneumonia's bad. I've had it before.
No.
It's not fun. And pneumonia is really bad for old people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they have weakened immune systems. It's not your immune system isn't effective as fighting off things as it is when you're younger.
Yeah. Have you ever read up on what happens to a person when they get rabies?
I had at one point because I was interested in it, but it's been such a long time ago, I don't remember the specifics.
Rabies is fucked.
Yeah, essentially once you get it, you're fucked.
Yeah,
There's
once
nothing.
you get it, I mean, if you get bit by a rabid dog or something like that, you have to go immediately to the hospital and get it taken care of.
Yeah, would you have a big shot they have to give you in your stomach or something like that?
Because once the infection takes hold or the virus takes hold, it's basically already dead. It's there's all these different stages of deterioration that you go through. One of the first things is you become what they call it, hydrophobic. Where you can't drink any water. You simply cannot drink any water. It won't stay down. And you basically start to liquefy from the inside out. It's it's a bad way to go. And it was they're talking about, worst case scenario is you have a hammock outside and you sleep in the hammock one day and a rabid bat comes by and scratches your forehead and flies away and you had no idea that happened.
No.
So as far as you know, you're totally just going about your life and all of a sudden things start getting really bad.
Yeah. Well, I think that just kind of goes to show you it's you're never safe.
No, you're
never safe.
Never are.
Well, it's interesting, too. I think that as a society, we are not as in touch with death as societies before us. You think about the Holy Roman Empire, or you think back to medieval times, death constantly happened, all the time. Everybody was dying.
It was a part of your daily routine.
Yeah, it was part of the Black Plague.
Someone was going to die.
Yeah, somebody's going to die. You're going to see some
died.
horrific shit.
Yeah, you're going to see a dude get sawed in half from the gooch first.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, as a society, we have to understand it's you're going to die. There's nothing you can do about it. Eventually, you're going to croak, and you're not going to be here anymore.
Yeah, it gets all of us.
Yep.
And, I don't think humans are meant to live as long as we do, which is why, once you hit 75, 80, you really start deteriorating fast, and all they can do for you is basically just stretch out those last couple years.
No.
And it's not living. I mean, if you've ever seen somebody who's 100 or 90, they're barely existing.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is redlining just to idle.
Yeah.
I think I think a human in a perfect environment would live to about I want you to think 40, somewhere around there, 40, 45.
Well, they say that at 24 your cells stop regenerating and they start they don't.
You're not growing.
Yeah,
anymore.
they're not growing anymore.
Yeah, there's a tipping point.
Yeah, I don't know what the specific terminology is for it, but
there's a tipping point where you stop growing and you start deteriorating. But I
certainly feel that.
Yeah, with medicine and technology, we've really expanded our life expectancy, and people, like I said, but I don't think humans are meant to live as long as we do, which is why you get things like cancer and and stuff like that. People weren't dying of cancer in the 1800s.
No.
I mean, they had a chance to get cancer.
Especially like 1350.
Yeah, unless you somehow accidentally got exposed to radiation and got a tumor. But then they would have thought you were a witch because you
And then it killed you anyway.
Yeah, then it killed you anyway. So the cancer didn't get you. Another thing that happened to me on our little hiatus. So as I've mentioned before,
Our sabbatical,
yeah. As I've mentioned before on the show, toenails and fingernails really get to me.
Oh, yeah.
Really freak me out. Like, I can't deal with them. I don't like seeing injured toenails and fingernails. I don't like people touching my toenails and fingernails. I don't like touching my toenails and fingernails. I don't know if I've got like some trauma with nails that I've like put away in the back of my mind. Like, yeah, it's like I've internalized and like I don't know what it is, but it freaks me out. Well, one morning I had gotten up and I brushed my teeth and everything and flossing and everything like that. And I go to throw my floss away in the trash can, and I had my right foot out in front of my left foot to open the trash can lid.
Yeah.
And when I brought my right foot back, I smashed my heel into my big toenail and cracked it in half, and it flipped up.
It's just like... It's like, what's that meme with like that stoner guy where he's like...
I looked down at it, and I was like, that can't be. That can't be. Like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
This is not happening to me.
No. And I had a panic attack. I had a legitimate panic attack, and I went to the floor. I went down to the floor, and I had my, like, I was, like, with my forehead on the tile, just, like hyperventilating. Yeah. Not because it hurt, but because it freaked me the fuck. I mean, it hurt, obviously, but it was freaking me out that it happened. So I had to like hype myself up for like 20 minutes to do anything about it. What I ended up doing was just pushing it back down into place.
Take some tape and like wrap it around your toe.
It eventually just fell off.
Yeah,
but I was not happy about that. I thought it's all I could think about for like 2 or 3 days afterwards was my toenails fucked up right now. Yeah, it was not good.
I don't think I really ever like cracked a nail. Like, I take that back. When I was a kid, I remember running and tripping and falling, and they had like the landscaping timbers out in front of the house, and it was this thumb, and I fell, and that landscaping timber caught that nail and ripped it off. Yeah. And I remember just like looking down as a kid, and there's just like this it's like this blood red thumb. I'm like, it's just like, I think the shock of it like freaked me out worse, and then I started crying because I was like 4.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so bad. Speaking of bad things, I guess we need to touch on what's happening on the eastern side of the world.
I mean, touch on that. Touch on the Canadian thing. I mean, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. The world's in a strange place. The most recent thing would, of course, be the Russian and Ukrainian conflict. It was like you said last night. It's very odd to see a land grab.
It's very strange, right?
In this era, this like modern era.
It's like I said. It's like people are so unused to death, and I think the same thing can be said for land grabs as well. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, we're so much more civilized than that now. That doesn't happen. And it's like, yeah, maybe, because when it happens, it's happening like in the Middle East or in Africa. Yeah. Like, where you're not privy to it.
Yeah.
It's
like war is such like a foreign thing to most modern civilized societies. So it's like, you had the conflict going on in Afghanistan and Iran and whatever for 20 plus years, but like you see like the footage from those places, and it's like a bunch of bombed out like stone buildings and like desert sands. Like, it might as well be on Mars, right?
It doesn't register.
Yeah, it doesn't register. But then you look at like the stuff going on in Kiev and in different places in Ukraine, and it's like that place is kind of analogous to like some places you might see over here in the United States. And so you see people like driving cars and like walking down the sidewalk, and like a tank goes by and just fires a shell into a building. Yeah,
I actually saw a picture, I guess, where they're doing like the bombing over there. I don't know what which province there's idiots in or whatever. But they had like a bunch of people that are like down in the subway stations, like I guess trying to get away from the bombing or whatever.
Yeah, it's a bad situation over there. I saw where Russian soldiers were getting ready to, I guess like breach and clear some government building over there.
No.
And so you see them like stacked up on the side of the building with like all their guns and everything, and I mean, there's like a military operation happening right there in the middle of town.
No.
But people are just like walking up and down the sidewalk, like civilians are just like going about their daily lives while this war is happening.
No.
And it's a very odd thing to see.
Well, it's interesting because essentially, and I haven't done much research on it or whatever, but it seems like they're going after governmental and military assets, and they're not necessarily so. And I don't know if this is true. I'm not over there, so. But it seems like they're not necessarily going after the civilian population.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course, there's going to be collateral.
Yeah, for sure. And there's going to be, one or two psychopaths over there that takes a shot at civilian population. It's going to happen.
Course. Yeah.
A little asterisk on this whole conversation is anything that you see in regards to that conflict over there, like anything you read, see, and hear is like I said, be skeptical of it because, we're seeing like a conflict in the modern age of like information sharing.
No.
So there's going to be a lot of misinformation, and both sides can use that to their advantage. So just be careful about what you believe and what you spread around, like regardless of the source.
No.
You know what I mean? So especially, me and Wesley are just two dudes. So we're just talking about what we're seeing.
We're just discussing.
Yeah, we're not a credible
You
source.
shouldn't come to us for news.
Yeah.
That's probably the last thing you should do.
Don't be like, I heard on the Thicc Bois podcast that this is what's happening over there.
Or you could, then you could tell more people about the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they upload once every 5 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an odd thing to see happening because, like you said, I think people like to think that we're like this enlightened culture, and we wouldn't go to war with each other over something like that. And then when that happens, you're like, oh fuck, like we're just animals. Like at the end of the day, we're just animals with guns. Like it might as well give a chimpanzee an AK-47.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing.
Essentially, what it is a lot of people they get really upset if you tell them you go like, hey, guess what? You're a mammal too.
Yeah.
Like you're not some alien species from another planet. Like, no, your ancestors came from here. Mm-hmm. It's like you came up out of the primordial soup like everyone else.
Everybody else.
Like everybody else.
And I think that people like to think that you wouldn't revert to like tribalism, but I mean, you absolutely would. I mean, technically, everybody now lives in tribes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, too, if you think about it, it's like throughout human history, it's been violent and it's been rough and it's been psychopaths ruling over other people. Yeah. It's like, and what? Now you got the internet and a little bit better life.
Yeah.
But other than that,
nothing much has changed.
Most of it's still the same.
Yeah.
So it's absurd to think that you're going to take millennia of evolution and be like, nope, that's not who we are anymore.
Yeah. Especially when that's how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
It's because of the way we acted and the way that humans coexisted with it. Coexist is, to use lightly.
Yeah.
The way we've all come up hating one another and murdering one another and, abusing and using and all that.
Well, an interesting fact, and let me preface, I don't know if it's a fact or not, but I had heard this at some point.
An interesting thing I heard.
An interesting thing that I heard was that the human mind, if something doesn't fit specifics or if it's close enough, but it's not quite there, then you react with fear and rage. You know what I mean? So it's like
people hate what they don't understand.
Yeah, people hate what they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's sort of like one of the reasons why Neanderthals aren't around anymore is because guess who killed them? Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens.
That's right.
That's crazy to think that Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were kind of like divergent. They went into, we have Homo erectus, and then Homo sapien and Neanderthal. What did that happen? Is that where that happened, or was erectus after Neanderthal?
I'm not real sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it is interesting because I've read before that sapiens and Neanderthals lived in the same like era.
Yeah.
And it was like
for
two
a
things.
short period of time.
Yeah. That's why they've found skulls, Neanderthal skulls and sapien skulls that dated back around the same time.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what Neanderthals would have, if they would have won just by like sheer brute force and like numbers.
No.
What the world would look like now.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was like better?
Yeah, it's like some utopian society of like gorilla men. Oh, the world will never know. But yeah, I've been binging all the combat footage from over there because it's piqued my morbid curiosity.
No.
Like tank battles in the streets, like in the middle of like a subdivision, and one of the first things I saw was a bunch of helicopters flying over like a subdivision in Ukraine, and it's kind of ridiculous to make this comparison, but have you ever played Modern Warfare 2?
Yes.
Do you remember that part in the campaign where the Russians invade the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and you're fighting the Russians like in America?
Yeah.
It was kind of in a little bit of a way was reminiscent of that. It was like weird to see an enemy in something that's analogous to where you live.
No.
You know what I mean? When you've got people that have grown up only ever knowing the enemy's here.
Yeah.
This is how we live our lives.
Well, it's interesting too. I think, like you were saying, with Ukraine, with just the civilians over there, it looks like they're just kind of going about their day. I think that a lot of that probably is due to the fact that Russia has constantly been trying to assimilate Ukraine back into Russia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, was it they took Crimea or they annexed it or whatever?
They annexed Crimea a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and pretty
they
much
weren't supposed to hold a military presence there, but
yeah,
apparently they did.
Well, yeah. But it seems to me just from over the past, I remember being in high school and them talking about Russia wanted Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Like they've been talking about it for a long time.
They've lived under that threat for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about that was back in like 2005, 2006. Mm-hmm. So 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So you've got kids that are 16 and like, yeah, not surprised it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, a long time coming.
Yeah. And we told Ukraine that if they got rid of their nuclear weapons that we would protect them from Russia.
Yeah, 1993.
Yeah, and guess who said that we're not coming over there? Us.
Yep. Yeah, was it, I think they had like the third largest nuclear arsenal in the world at one point, just because of the amount of nuclear weapons that were left behind by the USSR.
Yeah.
And then essentially, I think the European Union, us, and Russia were like, oh, yeah, if you give up your nukes, then we'll make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
We'll protect you.
Yeah. Yeah, Russia was one of the ones that said,
yeah, they were,
we'll
weren't
keep
they?
You
Yeah.
safe. Yeah. And then they just stabbed him in the fucking back.
Stabbed him in the fucking back.
Almighty.
If I'd have been Ukraine, I'd have been like, fuck off.
You can all fuck off.
I'd have pointed every single one of those nukes at Russia.
like a guy with a knife. I'm fucking crazy.
I'd be like, fuck around and find out.
Did you did you see the video about the guys on Snake Island or Serpent Island?
Mm-mm.
There was a island. There's a military outpost that Ukraine had on this little teeny tiny island. I mean, basically a rock.
Yeah.
In the Black Sea, and there was 13 guys stationed there, and a Russian warship. I mean, this is all real.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple sources have corroborated this. A Russian warship came up and radioed them and was like, "This is Russian warship. Whatever. We recommend that you lay down your arms and surrender, or you will be fired upon."
Yeah.
And the Ukrainian soldiers said, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." And then they got blown up. But like, what an act of defiance, right? Like,
man, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. What are you gonna do? Blow me up? The whole situation is fucked over there. Like, there's the guy in the tank that ran over that civilian car, like on purpose. Like that one's rough. It's just it's an odd thing to see. I've been like addicted to looking at it, and this is morbid curiosity.
I think it's one of those deals where I've looked at it, but I've just been like, Yeah. Kind of is what it is, I guess.
The bad thing is that they're over there in Pripyat and fucking around Chernobyl. And they were talking about they've already detected radiation in the air just from
The tanks.
the
and
tanks
all
and
the
stuff
heavy,
churning up the soil in that area. And if they damage the sarcophagus or God forbid blow it up, like a missile goes awry or something like that, that's bad for everybody.
Yeah.
That's because
specifically bad for them and also bad for Russia.
Yeah. I mean, because that reactor is still spewing out lethal amounts of radiation.
What was it? They said that area wouldn't be... It would be subject to radiation for like the next
20,000 years?
20,000 years or 30,000 years or something like that.
It's a long time. Yeah. It's not a good situation over there.
No.
As a matter of fact, all we did, we basically swept it under the rug and forgot about it because all they could do was put a giant concrete box over the top of Chernobyl.
Yep.
It's called the sarcophagus. Like, if you don't believe me, look it up. It's like, all we can do is just pour concrete over the top of this thing and forget about it.
Did you ever watch the HBO series Chernobyl?
I did.
Yeah.
It was a good series.
That's probably one of my most favorite series that I've seen them put out.
Yeah.
It was a really good one.
It was really good.
Where they were talking about the all the water that was below it as the core was burning down through
down through the core, the crust of the earth.
Down through the crust or whatever, and they were saying how if it hit that water, essentially it was going to be a nuclear bomb when it hit. And they were like, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be really bad.
This
is
really
a bad situation. Yeah. At that scene at the end where the guy was talking about what happened, he was in front of that panel and he was explaining everything, and they showed that shot of that dude looking at all those cores, and each one of those cores weigh like tons, and they're bouncing up and down like popcorn, and the dude's standing there looking at it like, oh no. That's not good.
The craziest part of that whole show for me was like I think it was like the first episode where they kind of like showed the reactor like blowing up or whatever.
Yeah.
And how like they're like running through and that dude opens that door and there's like that black like flume like smoke that's going up and he just leans over into it.
Yeah, he looks down in the reactor.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no.
He's dead now.
Yeah.
You're a dead man.
And then like later on in the series, they just showed him sitting there and everything was
He looks like a gummy bear. Yeah, you just gooify.
Yeah, just
you turn into goo.
Shoot me and be done with it.
Yeah, do not try to save me.
No.
Please just shoot me. Yeah, because like when they show his face, like after he leaned back over the railing, his face was already red.
Yeah. Well, it just destroys your cells.
Yeah.
Like it essentially unravels your DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like the worst. You deteriorate on an atomic level.
Your cells are just falling apart.
God, I couldn't fucking imagine. That's got to be one of the worst ways to die. Like up there with like drowning and burning alive.
Yeah,
just turning into soup.
I remember as a kid. I had like this irrational fear. Like people were like, "Oh, I'm afraid of like drowning or burning alive or whatever." I had an irrational fear that the world would stop turning, and everybody would float off into space. Because I remember somebody being like, "Yeah, it's just a vacuum; it'll suck your eyeballs out of your head."
Oh God!
And I was like, "Well, what's keeping it turning? It could just stop at any moment. We don't understand how this is working."
Yeah, we're driving a car. We don't know how it operates.
Yeah, I just remember being like, "How does everybody not have this existential dread?"
You had that a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, what if the world stops turning? What if I stop? What if I forget to breathe?
Yeah.
You're like 5. Relax, kid. Yeah, I think probably being spaced would also be pretty fucking terrible. I remember reading.
Oh, did you see the shot from the? I think it was on the International Space Station's Instagram page, where they had the first untethered spacewalk.
Really?
Yes.
Who did that? What balls of steel did that?
I don't remember what the guy's name was.
Yeah.
But there's a picture of the guy, and you see like the horizon of the Earth.
Yeah.
And then he's just out there like this little. You can see him out there.
He was like really far away.
He was. Yeah. He looked like he's a football field away.
Fuck that.
And I was like, holy fuck.
Fuck that.
I was like, oh my God.
How did he not rocket towards Earth with those dense balls? God almighty. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Another interesting thing is I wonder how that's going up there. I wonder if the Russian cosmonauts are still up there on the International Space Station.
I don't know.
Bet it's tense up there right now.
It is a little bit tense up there. I know that
Ejectocito.
Yeah. Ejectocito, cuz. I'm pretty sure, just from what I've seen, that as far as like Russian populace goes, that everybody's denouncing what Putin has done.
Yeah.
But that's just, like I said, that's just what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, that comes from media that allies with Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, Russian media is going to show people like, oh yeah, this is great.
Well, I think it's a lot of people. You would have to take into consideration. I mean, there's even like military occupations that we've engaged in that I don't agree with.
Yeah,
it's like weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, probably shouldn't have went into Iraq.
Yeah,
it's probably a bad thing to do.
Yeah, especially when we found out that they didn't have any.
Especially when we found out that they didn't have any. That's a war crime.
Yeah. God, thinking about that dude out in space, just he must have had like some kind of propulsion system, right? Like
yeah,
he
did. I think they have
compressed air or something.
Yeah, compressed air or something like that. But still,
yeah,
still.
Fuck that. I was because when you first told me, I was thinking he was maybe like 20 feet away from like the nearest handrail.
No, he was out there.
No, God, no.
It's sort of like what was that movie? Was it? It wasn't Interstellar. It was Gravity.
Yeah, it was Sandra Bullock.
It was Sandra Bullock and what's his nuts?
It's not George Clooney, is it?
Yeah, George Clooney.
George Clooney.
Yeah, where she's kind of like slowly like floating off into space.
Yeah,
because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, you're kind of at the mercy of fate.
Yeah, you're at the mercy. You can't go anywhere.
You have absolutely no agency over your situation.
No.
Yeah. God, imagine if you got spaced like, 500 kilometers per hour or whatever away from Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, at a certain point, you would freeze to death, right? If you were inside like an EVA suit. But I think I read some time ago, like what would happen if just you were in space.
No.
And it was like all the moisture on your skin and eyeballs would immediately boil, and like your tongue would shoot out of your head, and like all your organs would like explode inside your body, and it's not a good situation. Yeah, so I'll stay down here. Yeah, I'll remain down here.
Which is interesting because I find the space fascinating.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I have like zero interest in going out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for this new telescope that they have launched. I can't remember when it launched, but it's still in the process of unfolding all of its like pieces or whatever.
Yeah, all of its arrays and everything.
And I think it's supposed to be done in a couple months from now. It's all automated.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be able to see. I think it's like 20 or 40 times further than what Hubble can see.
Really?
Yeah, and if you remember, Hubble took that one picture, the real famous picture of all those different galaxies, and like with pretty decent clarity. I mean, it's for the time and everything, and the scope of that picture. So I'm interested to see what we could see with this new one.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see, well, like what stuff, like what's close, what's nearby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, nearby as far as space goes.
Yeah, quote unquote nearby.
Yeah, 400 million light years away.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Was it they had that one satellite that went by like Jupiter and Pluto and everything? And it took the pictures.
Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager. Did you see the ones from Pluto and everything?
There was one satellite that crashed onto one of Saturn's moons, I think, or maybe it crashed into Saturn. And that was the point. Like, that was as far as it was supposed to go. We got lots of cool pictures from it.
Yeah. You imagine the amount of calculations that go into that to be like, you have to calculate the speed of the satellite,
the direction,
where Saturn is going to be in its orbit, when it should like cross paths with it. Like, that would be...
Like the gravitational pull of all the different planets it goes past. And, like, even then, you're talking about, like, well, not
only that, but you got to get it past the asteroid belt.
Yeah. There's a bunch of shit floating around in space that could crash into it.
No.
Like, like, what they call those micro asteroids or whatever, things like that. That's something that those guys have to worry about when they're up there. Is like, there could be a tiny little asteroid the size of
a fucking pebble.
Of a pebble that's flying through the through space at like unfeathered speeds.
Yeah.
And it could hit you while you're out there, then that's fucking game over.
No.
But yeah, I remember seeing those pictures too, when Voyager went by Pluto, I think it was.
Space is so crazy because it's like they talk about like gamma rays or whatever.
Yeah.
They get let off by like suns that like implode or whatever, and how like those gamma rays or whatever travel through the universe. And like if one hit the Earth, we'd all die.
Yeah, we'd all die instantly.
Yeah.
It'd be like everybody just dropped dead all of a sudden. Yeah. Every living thing's dead. And you've got like, our fucking sun's trying to kill us.
Yeah, constantly.
Constantly. Solar flares and, our economy, the world's economy is held together by Microsoft Excel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if a solar flare happens bad enough that all the computers in the world get irreparably damaged, guess what? It's back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about, like, essentially a solar flare that would be large enough to damage electromechanical equipment. You're talking about navigation equipment. You're talking about...
Everything.
Everything
run...
The power grid.
Everything's, automated and computerized. And so you're talking about, like, even just from, like... I work in, the natural gas utility. So much of natural gas, like, the transmission lines and things like that are operated and controlled by computers. So, I mean...
Everything's operated and controlled by computers now.
You're talking about stuff that like regulator stations that, turn a 1,200-pound line down into a 40-pound line. That thing goes offline. That's a bad day.
Yeah.
You're
not going to have a good day.
You're not going to have... All the planes are going to fall out of the sky. Yeah. Your power plants are going to stop working. Your hydro plants are going to stop working. There's no more power. There's just problems. No more internet. So you're not even going to know what's going on.
No. You'll have no clue.
Matter of fact, I think we did get hit by a solar EMP in 1960, I think. No, not 1960, 1860. It was during the Civil War. Thankfully back then nobody had computers or anything, so nobody even noticed that it had happened.
Yeah.
But one happened recently. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's one of those things that's like, okay, well, are we preparing for this? How would you prepare for this?
No.
Everything turns off. Now what?
Yeah, now what?
What do you do?
Yeah.
All the shit we would use to repair this is also fried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All we can do is bang sticks and rocks together for the foreseeable future. And so much of our resources have gone into building this infrastructure that we can't rebuild it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's sort of like we got to take into consideration, like, there's things that are constantly trying to kill us. They're trying to end our civilization. Yeah. Sort of like Yellowstone. Yeah. Like,
we're beating the odds every day.
That's past due.
Yellowstone's fucking scary. And like, if you've ever looked up like what could happen if it did erupt, like it would kill us here in Georgia, this far away. Like the explosion would.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't be caught in the explosion, but like the concussive force and like all that stuff, it would reach out this way.
Yeah. It's one of those deals like you would be better suited to either be like
directly on top of it.
Either directly on top of it or on the other side of the world.
Yeah. Even then.
Yeah.
I mean, the world would go into another ice age because of all like the all the shit that gets
ash and all that shit.
Everything that goes up into the atmosphere, sunlight can't penetrate it. And it would be the same thing if you had like a nuclear winter. Because the sunlight wouldn't be able to penetrate through the black ash in the air. So everything down here would freeze. I mean, it would, it would be like if there were no sun at all.
Yeah.
And then the sunlight that did get through the atmosphere would hit that black cloud, and it would heat up the ozone extremely hot and destroy the ozone. So now we have nothing that's protecting us from UV radiation.
No.
And guess what? That black cloud's not going to stop that.
No.
So now it's cold and it's radioactive.
Yeah. Now we've turned into the reverse of Venus.
Yeah. Dude, Venus is fucking wild. Did you ever see the pictures? We have pictures of Venus's surface.
I've never seen the pictures of the surface before. I've seen
Yeah.
the pictures of like the clouds and everything.
Like we had a probe that landed there and took some pictures before it fucking melted away
Yeah.
because it rains acid and there's liquid lead and like Venus is basically hell planet. But yeah, it's like all like the horizon and everything is like green.
Yeah.
It's like otherworldly green. Like all the rock, even the rocks look sad. It's just a bad place. Bad place to be. I think that if humans are to survive,
We can't do it here.
we can't do it here. We didn't have much of a chance here on Earth, and the little chance that we did have, we've already squandered.
Yeah.
We've squandered long ago. So I think the only thing that humans could do is to either colonize another planet, and the nearest one that we can even start with is Mars.
Yeah.
And even if we got started on that today, like operations started today, terraforming and everything like
Yeah.
that, it wouldn't be ready until, it wouldn't be habitable until, what, 300, 400 years?
Yeah.
And you're talking about artificially creating an atmosphere.
Yeah. Good luck.
The first time we've ever done that.
Yeah.
What if we get it, hey, this looks pretty good, and then like some unforeseen issue happens
Yeah.
20 years
That
down the road.
always happens.
That always happens, I think that,
And then you get acid rain.
yeah. And then even then, how long is Mars going to last?
Yeah.
Well, all we're going to do is go to Mars and fuck it up the same way we fucked up Earth.
Yeah.
So we'll probably, the best case scenario is we just start hopping planets. We're like a parasite, right? Like we just suck all the life
just
out of
never
this
learn.
one. Yeah, just suck all the life out of Earth, suck all the life out of Mars, and then there's on to the next one.
Yeah. Until finally, like, the aliens are like, we got to stop
We
these
gotta
assholes.
stop. Yeah, these fuckers are basically the flood. So I think the only way that humans are going to continue to persist is if we became a spacefaring species. We'd have to like live in spaceships and like just take resources from planets as we needed them.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the only way that you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a time limit on this planet.
Yeah.
There's a time limit on the sun. Like, once the sun goes boom.
So, well, fuck, there's a time limit on the universe.
Yeah, technically, the sun would probably diminish to a point where the atmosphere would go away.
Yeah.
And then it would just, like, our bodies that are inside of it will be left on this fucking rock that is just floating through fucking space.
Yeah.
And then finally it will explode
Into a supernova.
And then what is left of our remains will be sucked into the black hole.
Yep. And then that'll condense down into a singularity, and it'll be like we were never here.
Yep.
Nothing mattered.
Yep.
None of it mattered. And then, everything's got a time limit. The universe itself. I mean, like there's there's entropy, right? So the universe, there will become a time where every star burned out, everything's gone. It's all gone.
Yep.
The universe is just completely fucking empty. Humans are not going to be all right. Well, what next?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we going to recreate the universe?
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen. I don't. It's pessimistic, but I don't think we are ever going to colonize another planet. I think it can be done.
Yeah.
We don't have the technology, but we could get the technology. Elon Musk is already working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get there if we could get out of our own way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't see it happening. It's definitely not going to happen in our lifetime.
No.
But I don't think that. I think this history repeats itself. We'll get really close to something, and then somebody will fuck it up. Some rogue state will like start launching nukes, and then oh well.
Oh well, we tried. Yeah, I think a lot of it. I think if we were to do it, I don't think that we have the infrastructure politically to get it done.
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's another big thing. It's the people who'd be making those decisions, like are, self-serving psychopaths.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't believe at all that we have the political infrastructure in order to get to a point where that needs to be done. And additionally, I don't think that humans have the mental bandwidth to get it done either.
For humanity to exist past this planet and past this, what we are now, a lot of what humanity is has to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
And we're selfish beings.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, we will die here and fuck you all.
Well, I think that, when you think about that, though, it's like, what would you have to sacrifice? And additionally, do you have the right to strip somebody of those freedoms or whatever it is in order to progress what you think is the correct direction to move humanity in?
Yeah, there's a very specific philosophy that would allow for that kind of existence.
No.
I think the first thing to die would be the self.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to operate at an individualistic level anymore.
No. And do you think we would ever get the entire human populace to kill the self?
No.
And
additionally, I mean, we have enough information at this point to realize the horrors that go into when you kill the individual.
Yeah.
In order to serve the masses, right?
Well, because there's usually still an individual reaping the benefits.
Correct.
Yeah. It's just bodies in the grinder at that point.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
You're talking about killing the self across the board, from the top to the bottom.
From the top to the bottom.
And that's never happened, and that will never happen.
No,
There's always
happen.
going to be somebody who's reaping the benefits.
No, absolutely.
At the very top.
Because the way that you interface and you interact with the world is through your own actions and things that have happened to you.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it happens.
Yeah, I don't think that,
And additionally, do you think... I think it gets to a point of diminishing returns, right? So, especially from like a mental standpoint. So, like you learn calculus all the way up, in Japan they learn it like 7th grade.
Yeah.
But here in the States, most of the time calculus is taken
like 12th grade.
12th grade, right? Well, if we were to keep advancing technologically, you would have to start slowly moving calculus further down the line.
Yeah.
To where, like, you're learning calculus in 4th or 5th grade.
That's very complex concepts.
Complex concepts, but I don't think that we are equipped mentally to handle that.
Yeah, your physiology would have to change as a species for you to be able to do that. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, if you have to mature that fast in order to learn calculus at such a young age, so that you can learn these more complex concepts further down the line, what does that mean for your physiology? Mm-hmm. Does your lifespan become 15 years?
Yeah, because the amount of time that you would have to spend just working on mental acuity and learning complex concepts, you would have to sacrifice that for whatever physical needs you would have.
Yeah. The goalpost keeps moving for every generation. So, a kid who was born in the 17th century didn't have as much to learn as a kid who's born now.
No.
Like, there's so much that's required of you to be a part of society. You got to learn how to, you got to learn what we consider basic math now, back then would have been like, what the fuck? That doesn't even make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, you had to learn how not to, get kicked by a cow in the head.
Exactly. You had to go out and tend the field.
Yeah. And now, there's so much that's expected of you. So, 2, 3, 4, 5 more centuries from now, how far will that goalpost be then?
Yeah.
How much are they piling onto your plate?
Yeah, because the name of the game is progression.
Right. And you all start at the same point. Everybody starts at the exact same point. You're a blank slate.
Yep.
Regardless of if you were born today or if you were born 500 years ago. You're all starting right at the same starting line, and it's just, like I said, the goalpost just keeps moving.
Yeah, I've thought that too, is that, I think it gets to a point where I don't think that we can progress any further.
Not of our own accord.
Yeah, not with what we've been given and the tools that we have.
Yeah. like our physical existence simply wouldn't allow for it.
No.
I think that at a certain point you're going to have to start getting into things like artificial intelligence, like true artificial intelligence. So, but then you have this being that is infinitely and unknowably more intelligent than us.
No.
You know, in intelligence, like we said with the chimpanzees ripping each other apart, intelligence creates the capacity for evil. You can't program a morality into something.
No.
If you give it intelligence and basically sapience, it has the capacity for evil.
Yeah.
And if it's basically an omnipotent God, one of two things is going to happen. Either it's benevolent or it's malignant. You know what I mean? So, where's the answer?
Or it could just process what's going on around it and be like, there's no reason for any of this.
Yeah. It just becomes nihilistic.
Yeah.
It ended up being the Matrix. Like, the best thing humans are good for is the thermo batteries.
Yeah.
We all get plugged into the Matrix. But hey, at least then we'd all live in a fantasy land, right? That's an option too.
Well, I mean, we're kind of moving in that direction anyway with the metaverse and all that other stuff.
The metaverse is just VR chat. It's Facebook's attempt at VR chat, and it's stupid. It's so dumb.
But not what they have currently. I'm talking about what it might progress into.
Become.
Yeah. I mean, you take into consideration, like they're trying to make it to where like you're doing meetings in the metaverse or like in this VR environment or whatever. Yeah. It's like, well, eventually, especially too with this moving, we don't really produce anything anymore as Americans. Like we've outsourced all that to other countries. Yeah. Like we don't produce steel. We don't
even make cars.
We don't make cars. Yeah. Like, especially for like raw materials and stuff, we don't produce any raw materials.
We're not digging up anything here. We're not doing textiles. We're not nothing. Yeah.
So we're essentially it's a service-based economy.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're working with numbers and, like how can we benefit this, and this, you know what I mean? So it's like for those people over there, it's like they can't go into the metaverse and go and mine coal over there for use out here. Imagine in the morning putting on your VR goggles and like going in like a mining coal.
Just like standing in your living room just doing this for 12 hours. They put like we got haptic feedback to make it more realistic, and they like blow all the joists out of your ceiling and have a cave in on top of you. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, it also could be that we find a way to automate even that, raw material gathering, and we'll say, hey, we don't need you guys to dig the earth anymore for 3 cents a day. We have a robot here that will do it better and faster, and we don't have to pay him shit. So we're just going to leave him here and fuck you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, what do you do with that labor?
Yeah, what do you do with that populace that now has no place? Yeah. Like I said, it was because we're serving our own interests.
Yeah.
So we don't care about what happens to them. So for us to ascend, quote unquote, to move past what we are, we would have to sacrifice the self, and we would have to work together, and Well,
then at that point as well, you'd have to sacrifice the undesirables.
Yeah, absolutely, because you can't have it's free radicals.
No, we can't, and we can't be dragging you along.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. So you're talking about take a populace, here in America. Your average IQ, your average level of education and philosophy and all this, that, and the other, and then take that same coal miner populace from, whatever backwoods country on the other half of the world.
No.
Those two people might as well be in, like, the Stone Age versus the modern age, as far as, like, capacity for reasoning even.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they're like subhuman or anything. No. They literally live in a different environment.
They live in a different environment. They haven't been exposed to the amount of education.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
I mean, you have tribes over in Africa who are still doing things the way they've been doing things for, ever since they've been around.
What's that island that nobody's allowed to go to?
Well, the ones that are like, they like kill anything and everything that tries to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take that guy and drop him in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to him?
He's going to have a panic attack.
He's going to have an aneurysm and just fall over in the street. He just simply can't be a part of it. We would I'll climb up into our our gleaming chrome rocket ships and leave the Earth and just leave them to their own devices.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm sorry you lived there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's like if we, if you take it into consideration, you wouldn't be able to be like you said, individualistic if we were to progress as a species to a point where we could allow for the species to continue to live.
Yeah.
So.
Just exist.
Just exist.
Just to be around.
Yes, just to be around. And like I said, in order for you to do that, you would have to institute some crazy form of, it'd have to be communism.
Yeah.
That would be the only way.
Yeah. Well, because, think about capitalism, it serves whoever's at the top best.
Exactly. It serves whoever is at the top best. But additionally with capitalism, with communism, there's no driving force to do additional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no reason to do more.
There's no reason to do more.
Yeah.
So in order for a communist society, in order for it to continue to progress and keep up with capitalist societies, what do you have to do? Force of threat and violence.
Yeah.
Well, we know that doesn't work. It works for a period of time.
Yeah, it works for a little while until you have a revolution.
But
now you've got people, at the helm who have no idea how it works.
Exactly.
I don't think it would have to be a communist society. I think you're looking at a meritocracy. So people who are, you would have to.
I'm talking about like a utopic communist society. In order for you to institute that, you would have to have people that actually believe that.
Yeah.
And are not trying to hide anything from one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in like communist Russia and communist China, they don't really believe in community.
Yeah.
Like they believe that those on the lower rung are to serve the ruling populace.
Yeah.
That's the whole...
It's like a caste system.
It's a caste system.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
I was saying, for humanity to exist past what we are, it would have to be a meritocracy because you'd have to have, we have very specific needs that have to be taken care of. And some people are better suited to do those things than other people. But, even then it's like, well, do you just relegate a certain population to do those things?
No.
Or do you have to, wait until they, show that they had that ability?
No.
It's like, it's not really clear what the right answer is because we exist as we do
well,
now.
let's say that you do have a meritocracy and that you have a group of people that you're like, well, these are our farmers. They farm the food for us that we need in order for us to continue to survive.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what if you have somebody in that community that says, well, I don't want to farm.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you have no choice. You have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like...
There's got to be somebody who enforces that.
There's got to be somebody that enforces it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not only additionally, let's say that you do have people that enforce that. You have a police state that enforces those rules.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to have a growing number of people that go, I don't want to do the job that I've been relegated to.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you're going to have depression. You're going to have substance abuse. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you're going to have revolution.
Yeah.
Just the way that it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like there's always revolution no matter, what the institution is.
No.
You're going to have a growing number of people who don't like the way things are and want to see a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no real good answer to it.
No.
And maybe the reason that is because it's just human nature. And we would have to evolve past our nature in order to exist past what we are.
Well, you also have to take in consideration that we are not a hive mind.
Yeah.
You are an individual. You have an individual collection of experiences that no one else will ever have. Yeah. Same as me, same as anybody else that's living on the planet.
I'll only ever experience life the way I experience it.
It's like I'm not an ant I don't smell the pheromones of the queen.
Yeah.
And then go out and collect leaves.
Yeah.
Like that's
Day
not,
in and day out.
Day in and day out. That's not how this works.
Until I just stop working.
Yeah. That's not what I was born into. That's not what is. That's just not how it works.
Yeah. Maybe the Matrix is the best option. We just plug ourselves into this machine that tricks us into thinking we're living forever until the power shuts off one day.
I think the best you can do is just try to enjoy as much of it as you can.
Yeah.
Try to do the best you can and be there for your family, be there for your community, and then when your time comes, you fucking go.
Yep.
That's it.
I think what's going to happen is humanity is going to fight tooth and nail to exist at every turn, and it'll never give up. It just won't until something just wipes us out completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's
we're
what's
just going to go down screaming. This is what's going to happen. Yeah, eventually there's going to be something that's just better than us, and it takes us out.
Yep. I mean, either that or there'll be a natural disaster or something like that, or
it could be the sun blowing up. It could be an asteroid. It could be another species.
Could be anything.
It could be anything.
I mean, there could be an alien race tomorrow that lands on this planet and goes, "Yep, this is ours now."
This is ours now.
And then they just glass the whole planet.
Yeah.
And they're like, "All right, done with that. We'll be taking these resources now."
Oh no! Now we know what it's like to not be America.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had talked a while back about there's a whole thing about the Galactic Federation.
Oh yeah.
About how there exists like a community of like different species that all work together, and they're looking at humanity as a potential part of that, and then they told us, our world leaders, if this is all to be believed. I mean, this is a real story that broke last year.
I know everybody has a short attention span.
Yeah. They told our world leaders not to tell anybody anything because they said that the general populace of humanity isn't ready to know this, and then we immediately went and told everybody.
No.
And so I think it's funny that the Galactic Federation thinks we're just a bunch of bumfucks. Idiots.
Well, they probably would like see people like doing TikTok dances. They're like, we can't have this. we can't. Oh, here's a TikTok challenge of me shitting on the interstate, like in an intersection, just pulling my pants down, dropping a deuce.
Yeah,
and they're just like, we can't have.
Yeah, they're basically primates.
Yeah, we can't have this.
Yeah, a species that has managed to actually do everything we sat here and theorized about, and several species that did it, and all work homogeneously together.
No.
Do you really think humanity could be a part of that?
Not at all.
As we are right now?
Not at all.
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
They'd be like...
There's no chance.
Yeah, that would be like having like an office that all works together. And you say, hey, guys, we got this new office member, and it's a rabbit honey badger.
Yeah.
That's his office over there. Like, I don't know if we can have that guy here.
Yeah.
He's going to be a problem.
There's like a chimp in a button down and a tie, like wearing some glasses.
Just on an appearance level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just because you wear the clothes doesn't mean you're a person.
Yeah, that's, Donald Trump said that he met with the alien leaders, and they have a secret base on Mars where they're... Our president said this.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
The craziest thing what if it was true?
Yeah.
What if it was true?
And Donald Trump's like, I told you.
He's like, I told you.
Like, nobody tells a better truth than me. The aliens exist, and they're real, and they're amazing. Yeah, they're looking at us like, yeah, they still eat poison.
Yeah, look at that.
Freely.
To change the subject a little bit, I think I finally figured out what it is about like new music that I don't like.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I recently started listening to gent, like gent style music or whatever.
G-E-N-T.
Yeah. The gent or whatever, however you want to say it, like Periphery and
I
all
like Periphery. They're
So-
a little bit more metalcore than I'm
Yeah.
usually into, but I do like them.
So one band that I particularly found that I like a lot, that just from what I've listened to, it seems like all instrumental,
Yeah.
is Animals as Leaders.
Yeah.
And I was like, the music is a lot different than what I like usually listen to. It's like, however, I think I know why I don't like new music is because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because the lyrics, they don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
Like with metalcore and stuff, it's usually like kind of the same kind of stuff.
Kind of like we're going to rise against the odds. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, that's sort of like they kind of like followed the same path or whatever.
Yeah.
However, like when you talk about like new music as far as like what they play on the radio and everything,
Yeah.
I don't connect with it
Yeah. Me
like
either.
at all.
No.
And I don't think it's the instrumentals that I don't connect with.
It's just a bunch of fuckboy culture. Like
yeah.
it's 2 a.m. and I want to call you.
Yeah. It's like that right there. I don't connect with that.
Yeah.
It's the lyrics I don't connect
Yeah.
with. So maybe if you took the lyrics out, I'd be like, oh, I kind of like this
Yeah,
song.
this is good for like, in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I definitely get where you're coming from. I mean,
It just kind of hit me. I was like, I don't like the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
yeah. Yeah, definitely like if when I get in the car, Mary usually has the radio set to 99.7 because she listens to a talk show on there in the morning.
Yeah.
So by the time I get in the car, like in the afternoon, it's just playing top 40s, and I hate it all.
I hate all
every
the top
bit of it.
40s.
It all sucks. It's all bad. Objectively, that's not my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's bad.
Well, essentially they've got it down to, was it, they use like the same 6 chords or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that?
it might as well be made in a factory.
Yeah, essentially
Yeah.
they're like, oh, this is science. This is how a hit song works.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it all sounds the fucking same.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and it's not written by the artist. Like, they get somebody to go up there and the person sings it. They're not the person that actually put anything into it.
It's a team of writers.
So they're disconnected from what it is that they're actually doing.
Yeah. And that style of creative process is also it's also prevalent in different media. It's prevalent in video games. It's prevalent in movies and TVs. There's this formula that works, and it doesn't matter what actors you put in there or what medium it is. As long as you stick to this formula, this product will sell. So I had this thought the other day. Like, I hate all the new like animated shows and like Western animated shows. I can't really speak much for like anime because I only watched like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And which Attack on Titan is like getting fucking nuts now.
Yeah.
But like the animation style is like, they're actually trying. There's effort that's put into it.
Yeah.
You got like, and then on the Western side of things, it all looks the exact same.
Yeah.
It's just like this homogenous gloop of the same show, and you take a little piece of it off and say, this is a different show.
Yeah.
Like there's one that usually comes on when I'm at the gym. It looks exactly like Bob's Burgers, and it's called like the Great North or something like that. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's it's okay to have animation styles that look the same, but you got to have something that sets it apart.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't be telling the same story
Yeah.
just with different characters.
it looks the same. The energy's the same. It's the same show. It's just the same show. And then you got the CalArts thing. I know you know about CalArts. It's that the characters have like that bean-shaped mouth.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah.
That has bled into 3D animation. Like Pixar is animating that way now because it's easily replicable.
Yeah.
It's a formula that works. Every video game that comes out now is an open world game with crafting and survival elements. Every single one of them.
And you want to tell people like, it's okay to like take a chance and it not work.
Yeah, that's what it is. Everything is safe. Nobody's taking risks, and it doesn't seem like anybody has a vision anymore.
No. It's like, you know what? It's okay to take a risk and to try something and for it not to work and for it to suck.
Yeah.
It's like, because guess what? That's how you get better.
That's how you get better. Yeah. If you're just doing the safe thing, then your shit just kind of blends in with everything else.
And guess what? We can all smell it.
Yeah. And you might as well not have made anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been driving Mary nuts lately because I can't get into any TV shows. Like, I just watched Breaking Bad again for like the 6th time. That is an incredible series. It deserves every bit of praise that it gets.
No.
And then we'll like try to hop into like a new show.
I can't do it.
I can't get a foothold. It
Nope.
doesn't grab my attention. Like, we watched Yellowstone, and Yellowstone is okay.
No.
And it's like, it's a show.
Well, I think the thing is there's just so many mediocre choices.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Nothing
me and
really
Allison
stands
were
above.
talking about it the other night. And it's one of the reasons why I have stopped really watching TV. There's like 1 or maybe 2 things I might watch throughout the week. That's about it. I just have no interest in watching anything. None of it piques my interest.
Yeah.
So I've just started reading again. I'm just reading books.
Yeah.
It's like there's tons of books I can go back and read.
Right.
Things that are interesting that I find interesting, I can go and read it.
But you said go
Especially-
back and read. See, that's the thing that I'm doing too, is I'm going back and I'm like re-ingesting like this media that I know I like.
No.
Like, nothing new is grabbing me.
No.
Like, even like with video games, like I'm playing all the old video games I used to play. Like, nothing new's coming out there really. Even the new Halo that came out, I lost interest in that 40 minutes into it.
No.
And I was kind of in denial. I was like, this is the new Halo. I have to like this. But
Yeah.
I was like, there's something missing there.
No.
You know, it's like there's no heart.
No.
They made it an open world game, which wasn't a good direction for Halo. I don't think it is. And I think a lot of people are in denial that the Halo Infinite is mediocre at best.
No.
But it's not terrible.
Well, like you said, I think just
but
all media now is just. I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards podcasts, especially podcasts that they're not scripted. It's like it's just 2 people sitting down and talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because guess what? Like, I'm going to get fucking things wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to get fucking things wrong.
Yeah.
We say fuck all the time. we use aggressive language. It's
Well,
but it's real. That's how real people interact.
yeah. And there's a lot of different types of podcasts too. I mean, like, if you have a specific interest, there's a podcast for that interest.
Yeah.
And then you have freeform stuff, kind of like what me and you do. You know, you can find something that does pique your interest. You're not being presented with the exact same podcast 1,000 times over with just 2 different people.
Exactly.
As far as I know. I mean, there's probably 2 dudes in the basement somewhere doing exactly what me and you are doing.
Probably.
There's definitely,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm under no illusion that that's not happening. But
All right. Well, I got to head out. I got to go get tires put on this car. So
oh God, there's always fucking something to do in there.
that's like the worst purchase.
tires.
I hate purchasing
because
tires.
it's so goddamn expensive.
It's super fucking expensive, and it's like I'm just gonna have to replace these anyway.
Yeah, and once you get them, it's not like, oh my God, the car feels so much better.
Oh my God, it rides so much better. It's just like, hey, my tires are getting bald and they're slipping in the rain.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not safe anymore.
yeah. That and like, yeah. Usually anything to do with a car, like maintenance, is just
Yeah.
like the most like purchase you gotta
Yeah.
make, like brakes, oil changes. Like, I guess I'll spend money on this.
I do my own oil changes now.
I would here, but I don't have any way to lift the car up or anywhere to take the oil.
You can take it to O'Reilly's.
I mean, you can?
Yeah,
What do
you
they-
just put it back and you put the old oil, you take it, put it in the pan.
Yeah.
You stick it in like the canister that you got the new oil in,
Yeah.
and then take it to them and you dump it in the thing and you give it to them.
What do they do with it?
They recycle it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Do you have to pay them to take the oil?
Nope.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
See, I was thinking I could just dump it in the lake back here.
Light it on fire.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's all we've got time for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening today. We apologize deeply and profusely for the long hiatus there. But we're going to nail down a schedule now that we have the ability to do so, and we'll be churning out episodes here pretty soon.
Yep. So, for those of you that have decided to pick back up on the podcast, thank you. For those of you that pretty much are like, I can't do this anymore with you guys, I totally understand.
All right, we get it. We do. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. We hope you enjoyed yourselves today. Wesley, do you have anything you'd like to close with?
Nope, I'm good. Just thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everybody.